Well, thank you everybody for staying for 2:10 on a Saturday. I know it's a little bit late and towards the end of the conference and we're all kind of tired, so I'm happy that you're all here. My name is Bridget Barley and I'm the director of the middle school at the Genesee School in Owings Mills, Maryland. And with Megan McGowan, she's our director of outreach. So I'm here to talk about structured writing today, and one of the approaches that we use at our school. This can really kind of be implemented anywhere, and I have some examples and things like that, and we'll go through the whole process today. So this is my 19th year at Genesee, and we are a school that serves students with dyslexia and language-based learning differences. And currently we're 1st through 12th grade, and we have about 425 students, 1st through 8th grade. So in the middle school alone, we have 135. So it gets bigger and bigger every year. We've been around for about 52 years. So this is how we approach writing at our school. So we're going to jump right in. So students don't arrive knowing that paragraphs and essays have structure. And unfortunately, that's kind of a common misconception that if you know how to read, then you're going to know how to write. But just like we do with structured literacy and the science of reading, it really has to be very explicit also with writing. So when we ask our students to write a paragraph, we have this beautiful structured, concept in our heads. And so we give them all of the materials that we think they're going to need and all the background knowledge that we think that they're going to need in order to write this beautiful paragraph. And we get this. Every kid is giving us something like crazy and wonky and things that you would never, ever in a million years dreamed of. It's creative though. So just like IKEA instructions, it just needs to be very, very, very explicit. So I want to start out with just 2 Common Core examples, kind of just what we're asking 4th graders to do kind of across the country. And these were actually my daughter when she was in 4th grade, some examples from some tests that she had that she did. She knew the content, but she did fairly poorly on them when it came to the writing part. So this is a science question. A turtle sees something that looks like food in the water. It takes a bite of food and it tastes bad. Describe the process for a turtle to know that it shouldn't continue to eat this food, and be sure to describe the sensory information, how it travels to the brain, and how decisions are made. So for a 8th or 9th grader, this is a really difficult writing prompt. And in 4th grade, she did not do well in this. This ELA question is another one. Identify a theme in Wonder and Man in the Mirror. Write an essay that explains how the theme of the story is shown through the characters and the theme of the song is shown through the singer. Include specific details from the story and the song to support your essay. So this is one of our most difficult writing tasks, which is the evil, dreaded compare contrast. And then finally, this was like the kicker. She had this social studies test and she knew everything. She knew the content. She knew the vocabulary, short answers. She got it. Multiple choice. She got it. She knew it all. And then this was worth like 60% of the test. So NASA has located a new island in the Pacific Ocean that's being referred to as Island X. They can tell from satellite images that the island has evidence of human life. The president is assigning you to the task force to decide if the United States should explore this new island. Based on what you have learned about the exploration of the New World, present your argument to advise the president whether or not to send a team of explorers to Island X. So that seemed pretty, like it's a big question for 4th grade, but it gets worse. To support your argument, be sure to include the political, social, and economic impacts of your decision, information from different perspectives of historical events, the natives, the colonists, and the explorers, and then references to historical events. So she had already exhausted everything in her brain for the beginning part of the test. And then she got to this and it was like, yes, we should go to the island. Bam, done. She was done. So the reason that I show you these is because in a few minutes, we're going to come back to these once we kind of put some structured writing things in place. And I'll show you how, even though these are still really difficult for 4th grade, we can make them a little bit more accessible for 4th grade. So structured literacy, we have to be explicit and direct, sequential, cumulative, and systematic. It needs to be multisensory and it has to be a cognitive approach. So that all falls under that Orton-Gillingham umbrella for literacy, but it's also the same exact thing for writing. So we want our students to read really good examples. We want them to analyze those examples, and we want them to write them. So writing is not just about writing. It's also about just understanding the process. So when we tell our students to write that structured paragraph, this is what most of us have in mind. Keep in mind, I'm primarily middle school. That's why this is the subject. So there are many different ways to drive your teacher crazy. The first is to wait until a question has been asked, answered, discussed, and then to ask it again. Another great way to get under a teacher's skin is to announce frequently during class, I don't get it, or I'm so confused. And one last way to drive an instructor bonkers is to overreact to every little thing in the room, from the passage of gas to the presence of a stink bug. There are as many different ways to annoy a teacher as there are students, so be creative and just have fun with it. So this is what we would want when we're asking for a paragraph. We've got a topic sentence, a concluding sentence. We have some examples there in the middle. So we have to think of writing kind of like a lawyer presenting his case. So we have our opening arguments, which we're going to associate kind of that topic sentence with green. We have our evidence, which we're going to slow down and we're going to really like hit home with it. That's yellow. And then we have our closing arguments, which would be red, or our conclusion sentence. So when I look at a basic paragraph, I have my topic sentence, I have 3 supporting sentences, and a concluding sentence. And I promise this is all going to come together in a minute. So when I look at that same paragraph, I can see my topic sentence is green. Then I'll have 3 separate supporting sentences, and I'll have my conclusion sentence. So how do we get to this? So this step gets just thrown to the wayside way too often, brainstorming. And brainstorming is so important, not only for the kids who are going to get it really, really quickly, but it's really important for the kids that they need some choices. They need some options. You're going to ask them to write something and they've already kind of shut off and they're not able to access any information. So I really like to think about brainstorming as just spitting out anything you know on a topic, anything at all. And so I always think about brainstorming in the number 10. So what we'll have students do a lot of times is we'll play a game called Top 10. And sometimes we'll just have a topic where we're just practicing brainstorming. And the topic could be dogs. And have one student come up and say, yep, I'm going to be it. And I'll say, okay, so 10 things that you know about dogs. Let's go. And so they'll name a whole bunch of different things like leash. And the rest of the class will kind of engage with it and be like 1. And then they'll say loyalty, 2, Cocker Spaniel, 3, Doberman, 4, water bowl, 5, just getting up to 10, just to kind of get a little bit of movement in and just to try to get things flowing and make it seem like it's not so ominous like we're going to write this paragraph. Another way that we'll do brainstorming sometimes is just visually on a Google slide. Anything you know about plants, put plants on the slide. And so that'll give students a visual, plus it gives them an idea and it can be shared and the whole class is kind of contributing and being able to see it. But I really like to stick to kind of the number 10 because there is such thing as too many choices, as we all know. 10 is like a nice round number. And so we're going to kind of play with the idea of ice cream flavors because it's easy. It's something accessible. Most kids know about ice cream. So in my top 10, we'll come up with a brainstorm. And so we'll do it on sentence strips. We'll write on desks. We'll, do pictures, whatever, to get these top 10 flavors. So what I'll do is that I'll make sure, I'm trying not to go past the poll, that my topic is written in green, ice cream flavors, because when they have to write their topic sentence, which is also green, those words, ice cream flavors, have to be in that topic sentence. So just keeping that consistency in that line there. So we've come up with 10 flavors here. And so students that were struggling, okay, they've got some ideas now. Students that weren't, okay, they got to play the game. They got to be involved as well. And that's when we get to our paragraph cards. So the directions to make these are in the handouts that are posted on the IDEA website. There's workshop handouts. So they'll be up here and you can take pictures of the slides. You can come look at the cards later. But just so you know, the directions are also there. So each student gets to make their own paragraph card organizer. And so these are the items you need. You need 1 green card, 3 yellow cards, and 1 red or pink card. And you should notice a little theme because that's what our paragraph look like. And they need a pencil and a pen, and they also need some sort of orange writing utensil. I don't recommend crayon, and you'll see why in a minute. So we give the students the cards and we say, all right, so our topic sentence card, on the front of your card, you're going to write topic sentence. And on the back of the card, you're going to write, there are many. So what happens is these cards are starting to become an organizer for the students. So when they sit down and look at their topic of brainstorm with ice cream, they say, all right, I have to write a topic sentence. Ice cream flavors is written in green. I know that has to be in my sentence, but what else? Oh, okay. There are many different ice cream flavors. There are many types of ice cream flavors. So it gets them over that initial mountain. Like, I need to write this sentence because usually for a lot of our students, that's it. Where do I start? So then they've been successful. They've written their topic sentence and we move on to their first supporting sentence. So on the front of their card in their pen or pencil, they're going to write supporting sentence number 1. But now the orange comes in because we tell our students that every supporting sentence needs an orange transition word. So on the back, they've got to begin with first, 1 example, and a first example. So what they'll do with that brainstorm is that they're going to highlight the 3 that they know the most about in yellow. And so if they highlighted vanilla in yellow, that's going to go in their first supporting sentence. So they might say, to begin with, vanilla is a very popular ice cream flavor. To begin with, vanilla is an ice cream flavor. They might just keep it that simple for a while. But eventually, once they build up confidence, they're going to begin to go outside of that box. So then they move on to their second supporting sentence. Oops, went too far. So second supporting sentence, there are some different transition words on the back of that card. So in orange, they'll write in addition, furthermore, moreover, likewise, next, additionally, as a matter of fact. And if their second ice cream choice was Rocky Road, they might say, additionally, some people like Rocky Road. Additionally, Rocky Road is another ice cream flavor. So it just, again, gives them that transition word, and then they can put their ideas. And you're going to have those students that struggle, and they're going to keep it real, real simple. But then you're going to have those kids that are going to write this very, very detailed sentence that might actually be a little bit of a run-on, and then you have to trim it up a little bit. But these are not like the be-all and end-all of transition words. We all have different transition words that we like for students to use. So these are just some of the ones that are the most popular. And then we get to our third supporting sentence, and the students are looking at their organizer, and maybe they have, they're going to pick Rocky Road ice cream, or I'm sorry, we did Rocky Road. Maybe they're going to be picking bacon flavored ice cream, and they might say, as a final point, bacon flavored ice cream is another delicious flavor. So it gets them through those 3 ideas that they highlighted on their brainstorm in yellow. and they've written all of those sentences so far. There were 4 sentences into their basic paragraph. So then we come to our concluding sentence, which is our red card. And on the back of that, we give them 2 choices, as you can see, and it should be obvious. And notice they're not written in orange because orange words only go in our yellow sentences, and they can finish that out. So as you can see, there are many types of ice cream flavors. As you can see, there are many ice cream flavors. It should be obvious there are many ice cream flavors. So what this does is just really help students build some confidence with writing that basic paragraph because it is intimidating for so many of them. And then this is going to stay with them because we're going to grow this. So that's taken our brainstorm and the 3 that they've chosen, and we now have our basic paragraph. So there are many wonderful flavors of ice cream. First, vanilla is many people's go-to flavor. Next, the more adventurous like Rocky Road. Finally, for the real risk taker, some ice cream shops now sell bacon-flavored ice cream. And then it should be obvious that ice cream comes in so many varieties that you might as well get a double scoop. So we've got our basic paragraph there based off of the cards. So from this point, it kind of becomes, all right, well, how do we continue to build this? And this is the part where we're going to be very systematic, and we have to have some repetition. So this is like a brainstorm on elephants making a great pet. So these are actually, they're a little bit middle schoolers that kind of, came up with some of these. So they have good memories. They're enormous, gentle giants. They're used in war, Africa and Asia, because where you can find them. They play in the mud. The trunks are tools. Poached for ivory, mud, dirt, cooling. So just some ideas about elephants so they can think about, what am I going to write about? So this would be kind of an organizer that they were writing on. Middle school students, this is like a picture one. You could charge your friend for rides. That was that one. This elephant is hiding. It'd be very difficult to lose your elephant. That was another one that came up. That they're very intelligent. You can charge people in your neighborhood for a car wash was one that came up. And they're very like loving. So it's, giving somebody flowers. So if we went with that and we used our cards, we'd have our topic, elephants make great pets. There are so many reasons that elephants make great pets. First, elephants make great pets because they don't shed. Next, elephants are very strong. And finally, elephants would be difficult to lose. As you can see, elephants make great pets. So this basic paragraph starts to kind of come out very quickly, and they're using these cards and they're having success. I'll give everybody a second. Looks like people are taking pictures. So this is what it would look like when it was formatted as a complete paragraph. And that's when I get to the point with students. And so we have an influx of 6th graders that come in. We really start doing this color coding with our students that are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade at our school. So we do a paragraph challenge at that point. And so with the 6th graders, we do a 10 paragraph challenge. And I'm like, all right, you know what, guys, we are going to write 10 paragraphs in 5 days. And they're like, you are a nutcase, lady. There's no way I'm doing that. And so I have a list of different topics that they can choose from, and they're organizers that are color coded on the paper, and they use their cards. And so the first day, I'm not really helping them anymore. They're going to do their brainstorm, and they're going to pick 3 things, and they're going to write their first paragraph. And so in class, that kind of goes a little bit slow. So we might get 1 done the first day. And then the next day, like 2 paragraphs are getting done in class. And then the next day, there's 3 paragraphs getting done in class. And most of them finish this 10 paragraph challenge in less than 5 days because they really start to build that muscle there. And then a lot of them are like, well, I want to say more. I have more to say about this elephant, more to say about this ice cream. And then it's kind of like where you bring in that good manipulation as a teacher, and you're like, oh, nope, you're not allowed to write any more than that. You can only write those 5 sentences. And it kind of makes them want to write more. For younger grades, like 3rd grade and 4th grade, sometimes they'll do like a 3 paragraph challenge or a 5 paragraph challenge, just so that they're getting that practice in. So some of the topics: unusual hobbies, breakfast foods, types of footwear, types of transportation, places to swim. I'm actually teaching a 6th grade class this year, and we did the topic, teachers just don't understand. So as a class, it was so fun. They came up with all the things that we don't understand as teachers. Snack is too short. They have social lives. They should be able to drink soda at lunch, because of ADHD, it really helps calm you down. That was the reasoning. So we picked a topic, and they did their basic paragraph on it, independently. But so these are just a couple of topics. You can pick some strange things, just to get them engaged in the process. And so students start to feel really successful. They've done their 10 paragraph challenge at this point, and then it's time to bring in some next level topic sentences, because you cannot be starting every paragraph with there are many. So what we do at that point on the back of their topic sentence card is that I give them 5 different ways to start a topic sentence, and their general remark, question, quote, story, anecdote, and opposite. You could just write that on the back of their green card, but it's almost like if you just said topic sentence and didn't give them an example, it doesn't mean anything. So the examples on the back of the card, we start to teach them, you can take these and you can manipulate them to fit your topic, like training wheels for a little while. So for general remark, everyone loves to see elephants at the circus, but consider how great it would be to have one as a pet. Or a question, haven't you ever wondered what it'd be like to have an elephant as a pet? So if they're writing about recycling, they might say something like, everyone loves to be kind to the earth, but consider how great recycling is. Or haven't you ever wondered what it would be like to recycle more? So it just gives them something to use as a point of reference. And once they really get confident, they move away from this. I will warn you though, our social studies teacher, when we first moved to these topic sentences, he came up to me, he's like, all right, that's it. You got to get rid of this question topic sentence. And I'm like, why? What's the problem? He's like, all right, well, I had them writing a paragraph about smallpox, and everybody that did a question topic sentence, have you ever thought about how great it would be to have smallpox? He's like, it doesn't work everywhere. And I was like, all right, we're going to have that lesson. So that really gets them kind of started on thinking about some higher level topic sentence, some more sophistication. And so what I'll do with them is that I'll say, all right, go back to your 10 paragraph challenge, and I want you to write 2 general remark topic sentences. Get rid of your there are many's, change them. So it helps with, teaching revision too. Do 2 questions, do 2 quotes, 2 story anecdotes, and 2 opposites. And so they go back to that 10 paragraph challenge and they change those topic sentences. And then we'll do the same thing for our concluding sentences. So we teach them that you can offer a solution, give advice, give an opinion, restate your purpose, or encourage or discourage someone to do something. So we teach those different types there. And then same thing, we'll have them go in and pick paragraphs, do 2 offering a solution, 2 give advice, 2 give an opinion, so that they're kind of playing with that. I also kind of do a fun game with this as well, where I have a jar of, green index cards that students one night for homework, they have to take 5 home and just write some topics on it. So it's our jar of topics. And so I'll have students stand in the middle of the room, and for the topic sentences, I'll have a question mark in one corner and a book for story in another corner. I'll write general remark. I'll have some opposite arrows. So all the 5 types of topic sentences are located around the room, and they'll stand in the middle, and I'll pull out a topic and I'll say, oh, well, haven't you ever wondered how great it would be to live at the beach? And so they have to kind of listen to it and say, oh, that's a question topic sentence. And then they head to that corner. It's a great drill. And not only that, they've been writing them, but it's good for them to be able to identify them as well. So we do kind of games like that with topic and concluding sentences to try to exercise those muscles just a little bit. So once they've done that, then we move them to adding some more. So those kids that have been begging to write more, because they do start to beg after a while, believe it or not, we're going to give them those. So now they're going to have behind their supporting sentences, they're going to have 3 details. And depending on what grade level you teach, you might only put 1 blue card behind your yellow sentences. They might not be ready for 3, or maybe you do 2. So detail 1, 2, and 3. And what we'll do is some kids are ready to write those blue detail sentences, no problem. Some of them need a little bit of support there. So some great ways to start those sentences, or a great way to have some information in those sentences, is to start with a subject. So if if your yellow is about vanilla ice cream, have that first blue sentence, vanilla is, and go with it. Or generally speaking, vanilla, of course, as a result, or using the appositive to. Vanilla too is a great, ice cream flavor. So some students never even look at those and never use them. Some students do use them, and it's just helpful because they can't get over that first word. Once they get the first word, then they can go. So now we've evolved from that basic paragraph to an expanded paragraph. And so here's what it looks like. So now we have a quote topic sentence. When Voltaire wrote, ice cream is exquisite, what a pity it isn't illegal, he could have been talking about any number of flavors. And we have our same transition word. First, vanilla is many people's go-to flavor, but now I have some blue sentences. It's an easy, adaptable flavor that can take a variety of toppings. Some people find it bland, but others appreciate its subtle sweetness. And I could have a third blue if I had assigned that. And then next, the more adventurous, like Rocky Road. You can describe it. It's a decadent mixture of chocolate, nuts, and marshmallow. We could put 2 more in if we were sticking with our number 3. Finally, for the real risk takers, some ice cream shops now sell bacon flavored ice cream. This probably would have been Elvis's favorite. It's a shame the king never got to enjoy it. Some varieties have actual chunks of bacon, but others just contain flavoring. And then I'm going to end with giving some advice. As you can see, ice cream comes in so many varieties. You might as well get a double scoop. So I'm encouraging somebody to do something. No, you can cheat it. So the reason I didn't fill in 3 on this is because it might just be that you've only assigned 1 detail, just so you can be flexible with it. But what I would do, whatever it is you're doing, if don't have 1 blue detail for the first yellow and 2 for the second, keep it consistent. We usually do that for 2 years. It's always consistent. And then usually when they get to 8th grade, then it's teaching well, you might only have 1 blue detail for this yellow, and that's okay. But we don't mess with it until they fully have the structure. And then some ways that you can kind of make it fun. Like I said, I have that jar of topic sentences, so I use that a lot. There's also this really great game. It's called Last Word. You can get it on Amazon, and it's great to play on your vacations with some wine. But it has a deck of letters of the alphabet and a deck of topics that's giant. It has over 100 of them. And so I'll use it for brainstorming too, that, you turn over the letter A, and then it's things at the circus, and you have to think of all these things begin with the letter A that you find a circus. But I like to use the topic cards for some of these games. So I like to do Twister with my students, because if you think about it and you look at a Twister board, it's an expanded paragraph with its colors. It's got the green, yellow, blue and red, and you could stick with like left hand, right hand, left foot, right foot, but that's really not as fun as like right elbow, ear, nose. I don't know. You can do a whole bunch of funny things on your board, but what I'll do with that game is that I'll pick a topic and I will give a sentence. So if my topic were, things you would see at the zoo, I might say, additionally, you could see flamethrowers at the zoo. And so the students would have to think about, okay, well, additionally is an orange word, so it has to be a yellow sentence. I'm going to put, my right hand on a yellow sentence. And then I'll give another one and another one. So it just, again, they're writing, but they're also being able to identify what kind of sentence it is, because ultimately that's the goal we want. They want to be able to identify the purpose of the sentences. There are colorful Jengas. There's a basic paragraph Jenga and an expanded paragraph Jenga. And with that, I'll give a student either some of my topic cards are upside down or some from that last word pile, and they will pull out a color. And if they pull yellow out, they have to, whatever that topic is, give a yellow sentence about it. Red out, they have to give a concluding sentence on it. Pickup sticks come in this color. It's very interesting sometimes to watch students that have severe ADHD try to get these pickup sticks out without moving the other ones. But they have a really good time with it. And I award different color points, like the green and the red sticks. If you get those out and you give your sentence correct, they're worth 4 points each. The yellow sentence are worth 3. And then I have the blue sentences worth 2. So they really try to get the red and the green out, which are the hardest sentences. So you have tiddlywinks come in those colors. We play like a paragraph dodgeball. You can play with Uno. So you start to like go around and you see things that are colorful, and there are really great ways to kind of turn them into games. And then you can make them delicious. And I've done a lot of research on the foods that go with this. What's really great, especially for younger students, if they're doing basic paragraphs and you have to assign it at home, a way to get parents involved. It was so exciting. We used to have Kmart in Maryland. We don't anymore. But I remember standing at the line, and Tic Tac has like a pack of Tic Tacs that are a basic paragraph. There's even like orange transition words in it. I was like so excited. My husband was like, "You're the biggest nerd in the world." But what's great about it is that you can tell parents, or you can even do in your classroom, have the students take those Tic Tacs and set up the order. So they'll have a green one, they'll have an orange, a yellow, a orange, a yellow, orange, a yellow, and a red. And as they write their sentence, they can have that Tic Tac. So it's just another way to kind of encourage them to be doing that. Sour Patch Kids, that's obviously an expanded paragraph, which is exciting. Tropical Skittles, so not the regular Skittles, they have to be tropical. That's also an expanded paragraph. You can make a cool cereal bracelet with Fruit Loops, but then your family's a little bit upset because you use all the colors at school, but then you bring home the bag of just the purple ones, and they're like grape loops at that point because purple has no point here. It's not useful to me. The colorful Twizzlers, you can make a linear type of organizer, and students can, have the Twizzler after they write their sentence. But one of the most fun ones that I like to do with my middle schoolers is, because we can't chew gum at school, are these like extra flavors. They have like the grossest flavors. Like that one there is like lemon bar. They've got, creamsicle for orange. I usually use peppermint for blue. But what I'll do is, since they're all wrapped in silver, they don't know what flavor they're getting. So I will put one piece of gum in for every color of an expanded paragraph, and we'll have a topic, and I'll have the organizer on the board, and I shake the bag. I'm like, all right, come up, take a piece of gum. They take it out, they got to chew it, figure out what flavor it is. And then I'll say, all right, what sentence are you going? What transition word? Where do you want to put it? And so together as a class, we'll do that as a drill. So just a way to mix it up, because it is laborious to, we have a composition class that's 45 minutes every day that's just structured writing, and we have to keep it fresh and keep it moving. So that's a really great way to do that. So now you're going to start to notice things that are food colors, but the gum one is really fun. Just making sure they spit it out before they go. So that brings us kind of back to these Common Core examples, which I said are still difficult, but if we could highlight it, it makes it a little bit easier. So if we were asking the same question about the turtle, if we look at that first sentence, a turtle sees something that looks like food in the water, it takes a bite of the food and it tastes bad. That's our topic sentence. We can steal from that to make a topic sentence. And then describe the process for a turtle, know that it shouldn't continue to eat this food. Those are yellows. So, first, here's a step. Second, lastly, and then your blue sentences, how does that information, what's the sensory information? How does it go to the brain? And how is that decision made? Still super, super hard, but a little bit more accessible now. As for Wonder and Man in the Mirror, that first sentence, identify Wonder and Man in the Mirror, that's your topic sentence. A theme of Wonder and Man in the Mirror is kindness. And then from there, they'd have 2 yellows for compare contrast. So how's the theme of the story shown through the character? And I'd have details. How is it shown in the song? And I would have details. But the one that it really is kind of apparent for was that Island X one. So for there, that whole beginning part is just fluff. But based on what I've learned about the exploration, what's my argument? Yes, you should, or no, you shouldn't go. So that's my topic sentence. And then on the bottom part, my 3 yellows, the first yellow is going to be about the impact of my decision, and the blues that could go with it. I could have 1 blue about political, 1 about social, 1 about economic. And then my second yellow, information, there's, information from all sorts of perspectives. My first one would be about the natives. My second blue would be about colonists. And then I would be about the explorers. And then I would have some references to historical events. So again, really still very difficult for a 4th grader, but this is a little bit more, okay, well, I know what you want me to do. So we have to get to that part where maybe some of these questions aren't as difficult, but most of every writing prompt or every writing program we have, they are formatting their questions in a way that if we highlighted them for kids and their organizer looked that way, they're going to be able to understand what needs to go where. So this is just kind of an example of one of our, our displays in one of our classrooms. So we've got our expanded paragraph in the Word. We've got our topic sentence types. We've got some orange words, some supporting details and things like that. If anybody wants these, I'm happy to send, if you email me, I can send you the PDF for this and you can just print it out and hang it up. But so here's kind of where we've gone. So, and I apologize because I don't think my link is going to work now that I sent here, but I have it here. So we went from this basic paragraph of having 5 sentences about mythology. So some of the most popular mythological gods exist in Greek, Roman, and Egyptian mythology. And we've got this basic paragraph that the students have written. And then we've gone ahead and we have expanded it. So now my first one was about Greek mythology. And I'm telling you, I have a sentence about Zeus. I have a sentence about Poseidon, and I have a sentence about Hades. Then I'm talking about Roman, and I've got a sentence about Jupiter, a sentence about Neptune, and a sentence about Pluto. Same with my ancient Egyptian. So I've expanded it there and given some details. So obviously the next step is to go to an essay. So it's how to, oh, it did open. Oh, that's so great. So that takes us to this idea of an essay. Once we have taught an expanded paragraph, we do go in and we teach compare, contrast, and sequential paragraphs, and all those organizers are color-coded. So students are used to writing a paragraph. And when you say the word essay, though, there is just this like doom that settles in. An essay, oh my gosh, I can't do that. But they can, because look at these 3 paragraphs in the body. They are just expanded paragraphs. They're nothing different. The different piece that we have here are going to be the transition sentences, which we teach explicitly, and the idea of a thesis and a plan. So now instead of having a whole, I have a whole paragraph now about Greek mythology, and my yellow has been about Zeus, and I explain who he is. And a whole paragraph, a whole paragraph about Roman mythology, and I'm explaining, and then a whole paragraph about ancient Egypt. And I'm not sure what happened here, but those 3 sentences should be blue. So something got a little funky there when we transferred over. But now they're getting to the point where they are confident with that length, and they can do this. The only new part to them is going to be that idea of the thesis and the plan. So in moving from expanded paragraphs to the 3-paragraph essay, if we think about ice cream, so the 3-paragraph essay is that just the 3 paragraphs. And when we're thinking about the essay and we think about ice cream, which it ends up being actually one of the first essays that we do with our students, and they get so excited because, we tell them, okay, you have to go home and eat ice cream for homework. You have to like test it out. We're getting ready to write this. They're like, can you post that online or email parents? They don't believe that I should have ice cream. Yeah, sure. So these 3 flavors come to mind: chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. But the problem with that is that, you could write a whole expanded paragraph about vanilla ice cream, but it's going to be really, really difficult to do. Same with chocolate, same with strawberry. So we kind of start to think about flavors, category flavors instead. So what happens is that we get the students to the point where they say, okay, well, there are classic flavors, and that's kind of where your vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, like coffee ice cream would probably fall under. We get to the idea of gourmet flavors, which would be like your cookies and cream or your cookie dough. It's got something extra in it, your Rocky Road. And then we have those experimental flavors, which are like that bacon flavored ice cream, or believe it or not, Ben & Jerry's has toothpaste orange juice ice cream. And if you are picturing orange ice cream with like globs of blue toothpaste in it, you would be 100% correct. So they really like doing this. We will do, I usually brainstorm with the students, and I have a slideshow where they have classic flavors, gourmet, and experimental, and they just load it up with pictures of all these crazy flavors. So in these categories, then they're able to kind of write that essay, and they're able to say, okay, in classics, under my paragraph for classic flavors, I'm going to write a yellow about vanilla and some blue details, a yellow about chocolate and some details, a yellow about strawberry and some details, and they work through their organizer. Once they are comfortable with that 3-paragraph essay, then comes the point where you can't ever start an essay with just your thesis and plan. You got to have that thing that everybody likes to call the hook, but nobody really knows what the hook is. So when we get to introductory paragraphs, what we tell students is that there are 5 different ways to write an introductory paragraph, and they are the same ways that we wrote topic sentences. So you can have a general remark introductory paragraph, and before you were just writing one general remark topic sentence. Before your thesis and plan, you have 3 general remark sentences and then your thesis and plan. Or you have 3 questions and your thesis and plan. Or you have 3 opposite sentences and then your thesis and plan. So it's what they've been doing all along, but now I'm just like, instead of writing 1, write 3 of those. And then the same for the conclusion paragraph. We're giving them a formula to write that. If you started with question topics or question, we call them BS sentences or beginning sentences. Beginning sentence is a way to say, because middle school thinks that's a bad word. Beginning sentences, if they're all 3 questions before your thesis and plan, in your conclusion, you should restate those questions as statements, because that conclusion paragraph, that part is the part that is like, I am done. I want this over with. And so either they're going to write like 1 sentence, or they're going to write 10 sentences that start to become a brand new essay because they don't know how to stop. So teaching that explicitly is really important. And so we do that with teaching the 5 different ways that we do our conclusion sentences. That's going to help formulate your conclusion paragraph as well. so that you come full circle. So, and I have an example of that same mythology essay up here that you can look at on your way out if you want to, that has the general remark, topic sentences before the thesis and plan, and then it has the conclusion paragraph based off of that. So that takes us to like the flexibility, or how do we get that practice and that repetition in? If I'm the writing teacher, like how else can it be supported in other areas? So one of the ways that is flexible is that we have a lot of different rubrics for our paragraphs because writing is subjective. But these are just your springboard where you can change things in them. We're going to ask for certain things. So these rubrics are something that's going to be, yes, you have to have 3 yellows and they relate to your green. Do you want to add some more points in? Were they supposed to have some, obvious expanded sentences that give you a when, where, or how in them? What else were you asking for in them? But this is a good jumping board. But one of our biggest ways that we use this in other content areas is to take notes. So we use color-coded Cornell notes at our school, and this is kind of the idea behind them. We're asking our students to write paragraphs, but they read paragraphs in expository text that they then need to extract information. So the title of their chapter or their section is green. Subtitles that you'd see in expository text, they should be yellow. Any details that the teacher is pulling out or notes on that, they're going to be blue. And then you have the students write a summary sentence to demonstrate that comprehension piece. So in here, this is what this would look like. So evolution and classification, that's the title of this chapter. That would be green in their notes. And then Darwin's theory and classification today and determining evolutionary history, they would be 3 yellows. And any pertinent details that we pull out would be the blue details. We also use it in lectures when we're talking about things like our 8th graders used to read Animal Farm. So we did a whole thing on the Russian Revolution. And so they would take their notes, whatever the title of the slide was. So Russian Revolution, that was our green. The titles of the slides, in particular slides, were going to be yellow, and any information that the teacher was really pointing out or identifying on the lecture slides, those are going to be the blue details. Here are some guided notes that one of our social studies teachers did on prehistoric mankind. So the chapter title was Prehistoric Mankind. And the first section was Understanding Time. So what they did is that in the text, they went ahead and they pulled out the important parts, highlighted them blue, but then the students had to kind of go into those sections too to kind of fill in the blanks on them. I'll give you a second to take a picture. And then this is what the note template looks like. And I have one up here that you can take a look at. This is also in the handout, the note template. So on the IDA worksheet handouts, workshop handouts. And then here's kind of an example, an 8th grader that would be filling that out. They do the Road to Independence in September. So the main idea under Road to Independence was the French and Indian War. And you can see they pulled out some details from that. Britain brought French over to control North America. Britain saw themselves defending the colonies. They built up a big debt, wanted the colonists to pay the debt. So based on that, this is the student's sentence. After winning the French and Indian War, the British expect colonists to pay off debt, which made the colonists mad. So there's not capitalization of proper nouns in there. That's how you can tell that it was a student, but they really were able to like take that information and synthesize it. So some different tools that we use Read and Write at school. We do use voice typing often. We use Pear Deck. We use Flippity. We can make some digital cards with it. We also, for our students, we've developed an app that actually, we have a note-taking piece to it, and we also have the paragraph writing piece to it where we have our templates loaded in. So for those students that really have difficulty looking at an organizer, even as color-coded, and seeing like blank things on it, it really chunks it to the point where you're getting one task at a time. And it's really been beneficial for a lot of our students. It does the formatting piece as well. So it's a lot of information, and I'm sure maybe some of you have some questions, and I'm happy to answer, but now they're ready to build. So any questions? A lot of information. Just like we do a 10-hour training, and this is 10 hours like squish. No questions? Yes. So once we do the 10-paragraph challenge, then they'll go in and they change all of their topic sentences and all of their concluding sentences. And for their first time expanding a paragraph, I'll have them pick one from there. But then I have other ones that I'll do too. And you'll see some of them in the workshop handouts. Like I like to do, like I'll give them a basic paragraph that I wrote. And okay, keep in mind I teach middle school, but the